Good morning. That was more like it yesterday. The reason it was successful is we could rely on the in-play stats, which were very accurate indeed. Sorry for all these dogs in the background. Owners can't be bothered to teach them or stick them indoors. They just trigger on anything behind. So let's have a look through the ones that I picked out. There were a few others which I missed out on, but I think we did rather well yesterday. Ajax, the draw odds were never really getting that short enough to lay the draw, but it was an obvious play. Well, you could have laid the draw very, very late on, 86th minute. It would have been a big ask for Vojvodina to get the win, but they were excellent second half. Vojvodina kept Ajax out. Ajax had 7 shots on target in the first half, 2 in the second. This was an obvious tactic of Vojvodina's. Keep them, let them get on with it first half, tighten the ship second half, and you can see they were the dominant force second half. Really good performance from the Serbians, but just that little bit of class from Ajax got them through. Do be careful of Ajax this season. They are a selling club, so a lot of their talent tends to be shorn away from them at the end of each season. They have to start rebuilding again, which makes it very difficult to be an Ajax fan, because you're having to play catch up every season. They were awful at the first half of last season. Braga was a possible play, but again, we were suffering from a lack of real value. Laying the draw for a 1.08 shot is just not viable. Correct scores, I suppose you could have started at these 1.08, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. And if you did 3-0, then you'd have been okay. But as you can see, it was an underperformance. Yet again, the market getting it wrong, I think. Second goal, a penalty. 1.08 suggests an absolute rout. So the market's still having trouble reading these European competitions. Well done to Killy. They're getting a draw out of that yesterday. It was in the Conference League, I think. We got most of our action. KUPS and Tromso, I didn't really take on that Tromso lead, but you could have done via insurance. Let's have a look. Ilves, Austria Vienna. I don't think we played that. Yes, we did. I think we laid the draw second half, if I'm not mistaken. That's what you expect. You expect more, in fact. 5-0, 7-0, 9-0 would be my normal entry point there. But get the win and move on. Transinvest against Mlada Boleslav. 1.14 shot. Again, 2-0. So just the market just a tad off, aren't they, with their expectations? And this should be a 1.03 scoreline. Noah, Park the Ark, had a couple of giraffes up front. So he used the wing backs, which were cheaters. Get a couple of cheaters on the Ark, sticking them wing backs, and off we go. So good work from Noah and his animals. Fantastic stuff. Side to follow. Noah. Not bad for a 650-year-old man, eh? The lad done tremendous. He gave 110%. Covered every blade of grass. Bromby, again, this is what we expect. 1.08, 6-0. That's what we expect. 3-0 win. 1.14. So some of them correct, but some of them just slightly off. But still, we came away with it with a decent profit. You could have played this one. Guimaras were absolutely dominant here. But again, the question mark. Well, I suppose you could have laid the draw second half with a degree of confidence if you were following this via the in-play stats. 21 goal attempts, 8 on, 6 off, 16 corners. Once you get into the double figures with corners, it's pressure, pressure, pressure all the time. Just grabbing a bit of a drink. So that 16 corner count was very important and something for you to consider this new season. The corner count as well as the shots on target and shots off target. All hail to the ale. Hapoel Beersheva didn't get anything yesterday. Banakostrava 5-1 win, helped by the red. Poor old Shelburne from Northern Ireland, from Republic of Ireland, just outdone it. Just shows the exposes the lack of quality in the Irish Premier Division. This is a real pity. some of our plays. It's Ghent. Again, it was an obvious play, this one, but there's a question of value. Laying the draw for a 1.08 shot early in the beginning of the second half, the liability is high, even though the expectation that Ghent will score the next goal is high as well. So with that in mind, you could have laid the draw if you're tolerable of a higher liability. But the in-play stats were emphatic for Ghent. That's what I was talking about yesterday. In-play stats were very, very important. St. Gallen, we got this one as well, and they pushed on. Very good performance from them against Tobol. I think Tobol scored first, didn't they? And then we got stuck in. An own goal as well. And this is something I teach you at Football Trading Profits, just to be aware if it's against a run of play and a goal has come, just have a look at it. Soccer 24 will tell you, is it an own goal? Is it a penalty? Is it an undeserved lead? That will increase your confidence that it was just a blip and Ghent will get back in action. St. Gallen, as I say, job done. Maribor took advantage of the red card. This is a nice, simple play, isn't it? You lay the draw second half. In-play stats were good for Maribor, even though this put me off a tad. 2.4 the favourite. Again, as I keep repeating, the in-play stats which really helped yesterday. This really taking advantage of the red card, as you can see there. 11 shots off target was the frustration, but the pressure was building. Three corners only suggested Union Craiova very defensively led there. But lay the draw. The red-carded side scored first. The draw odds went up to double figures. Nice, simple trade. That's what you expect of a 1.03 shot, 6-0. Job done. Well done to St. Pat's. But they were playing a Liechtenstein side, not the Vaduz from Switzerland. So if it was Liechtenstein, you've got more of a chance, haven't you? But I think it would have been a tighter game had it been the Swiss Vaduz that they were playing. I'm sure we got some other plays. Breidablik and Dritter. I gave it a mention. I don't know why I gave it a mention, but I gave it a mention. Yes, 0-2 to 1-2. Yeah. This was one where you lay Dritter at half-time at 1.3, back Breidablik at 12.5. And this was a well-timed. I'm afraid I fell asleep by the time this goal came. I hope you managed your positions, because at 1-2 you could have a good trade-out opportunity. And it's a pity that Breidablik couldn't take advantage of the red card later on. So that was your key out, having laid at 1.3, backed at 12.5. With enough 20 minutes remaining for a side at home, the market would have moved in your favour there. So all in all, a very enjoyable night last night. That's more like it. That's how I like to trade. Lots of opportunities, even ones we missed. I was still on the ball with those. Just a lack of value. Braga, Ghent. Just getting involved without risking your liability, because it is European competition. And they did have a poor first half, Braga, for instance. Looking at the tennis yesterday. Again, probably best to just focus on the hardcore, or do what I do, pick your battles. Thompson, I like Aussies. Simple as that. Stroth, mate. Where's me stride? Nice 2-set win. I would have been all over Mayo had he won the first set. This, well, you were expecting a 3-setter, but a good performance from Davidovich Fokina, keeping Riley Opelka at bay. David Goffin, well, again, another Australian. So I would have probably the best value to take on a Goffin first set lead. So it's just my personal opinion about Aussies. They have that battling capability, particularly when favourite. Rublev, I wonder if he beat himself up with his racket after losing the first set. Up to you if you trust him or not. But he cruised after then. Musetti continuing to be the class act, and he could be well worth following this season. Musetti really caught the eye, hasn't he? Particularly pre-Wimbledon. Lost the first set, wins the next two. That's picking your battles. Freck against Sampson. Well, you were going to be with Sampson, but retirement. We can't legislate for retirements in tennis. Yes, you can have medical timeouts and then get out. But you just don't know, unless the players tell you pre-tournament that they've got an injury, you're stuck. You're going to lose money. A possible trade with the Czech winning the first set, maybe home support, and then you could have looked at the odds and Freck to win the second. This is another one, a battling performance from a fellow Czech. Lost the first set, won the second. And again, if you add it all together, because I'm only trading tennis logically, I'm not using stats, etc. I don't see the purpose of those unless it's in a Grand Slam and you're looking at the first set stats and it's a tight set. Was the person who lost the set, were they pressurising their opponent's serve? I don't deal with all the nonsense stats websites. You're looking for an odds movement. You don't need to make it complicated. It's logic. This is a Czech player who's a favourite in a Czech tournament, losing the first set. Bang. She may have lost the match, but that's not the point. Trading is about the odds movement between that and that. So it's a logical game. I don't really want to get bogged down with stats for tennis. I think the technique I've got tends to work more often than not. It's all about your entry point, keeping your liabilities low if it goes against you, and indeed having a possible exit strategy. I haven't figured that out in the tennis yet. Some of my trades have gone the full distance where I've lost the full liability. There's probably a way to get out of jail. Looking on to today, and it'll be a day off for me today. I was up very, very late for you yesterday, 4 a.m. onwards, but I thought it was well worth it. I made a bit of cash as well, so I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at the research here. So we've got the Belgian Jupiler League beginning, which is an excellent league to follow this season. Familiar names: Club Brugge, Ghent, Genk, Anderlecht. All I can do is look at last season as a possible cue to this. 1-1 and 0-0 in head-to-heads last season. And last season, Club Brugge had a real problem scoring that second goal against the top 9, which is not the form of a 1.36 shot. Opening day of the season, that looks vulnerable at 1.36 based on last season, but they might have improved. Mechelen, very sporadic. They did beat third and fifth, but they lost to first and sixth. A clear market. What you do on the opening day of the season, like we did with the European competition, is an over-reliance on in-play stats because we've got nothing else to base our judgments on. There's no form. That's why I have to look to last season, and that's not going to be adequate. Unpronounceable name against Górnik Zabrze, 12th against 6th from last season. As I say, don't become a unpronounceable name fan because you'll have to start singing that on the terraces. 2.5 the favourite, very tough to read. Puss's only home loss last season came against 2nd and 4th. So they are a good home side if that form, of course, continues into the new season. So watch out for a strong performance from unpronounceable name. 2.5 the favourite suggests the market hasn't got a clue, and they're being honest. Irish First Division, Bray and Wexford. Just go straight to the angles. Both teams to score are possible. Wexford can't be discounted on that away form against 5th and lower, but they are leaky defensively. So we might see a goal before half-time as well. Lay any late draw. No draw in 8 at home for Bray. Cobh Ramblers against Athlone. Athlone's away form puts me off. Only 1 defeat since the 12th of April, though, but only 1 win in 9 away against the top 8, and they are playing 7th today. Cobh are yet to beat the top 3, and Athlone have the most solid recent form. Both teams have scored in the head-to-heads, and at least one team has scored 2 goals. So watch out for that. If it's a 1-1 late on, you might want to lay that late draw. Cork and Kerry, it should be one-way traffic here today. Kerry much improved on last season, but last season was awful. This season is just as bad, but they're starting to win at home at least. I don't think Cork City have been relegated, I think, into the first division. They're finding it to their liking. They do tend to score first in 11 out of 12 at home, so we're unlikely to get a trade today, unless it's 0-0 at half-time. But 10 out of 14 goals conceded away have come first half for Kerry. We're likely to see first half goals. I as I say, they might not score, Kerry. So correct score, win to nil, is a possible. If 0-0 at half-time, 1-0, 2-0 Cork might offer an angle. Treaty United against Finn Harps, 8th against 4th. Maybe back 0-0 pre-match, 8 consecutive under 2.5 goal matches for Finn Harps. 5 consecutive under 2.5 goal matches for Treaty. If you do back 0-0 at half-time, cash out at half-time. Sorry, back 0-0 pre-match, cash out at half-time. You've got to back 0-0 pre-match. It's its highest ever point. Bohemians against Dundalk. 2 sides not in the best of form, so I don't think this is a very good match to focus on too much. But goals before half-time is a possible. The main reason, Bohemians have not had a goal scored by a home or away team in the 45th to 75th minute of home matches. So that logically suggests that there's a high likelihood that if there is a goal, it's going to come first half. Drogs against Waterford, 2.3, the favourite. Mystifying market. Why are Waterford not strong favourite? They're 3rd in the league. They're unbeaten home and away against 7th and lower. No draw in 13 suggests a win. And with no win in 10 for Drogs, Waterford look like the winners. 2.3 looks absolutely great value, but there's always a reason with these pesky bookmakers behind it. Austrian Cup today as well might offer a trading angle, a bit like the European football yesterday. It's got to be reliant on the in-play stats, but lots of familiar names. Red Bull Salzburg, of course. We've got a lot of teams from the top flight. Lask Linz, one of the big boys in Austria. Hartberg, but that boy Dusan, no, not Dusan, but that boy Tadic, regular goal scorer for Hartberg. Wolfsberger, another Bundesliga side. Austria Klagenfurt, I'm not sure if they're in the Bundesliga yet or in the second tier. But lots of familiar names. Austria Lustenau. Oh. First Vienna stripping. Oh. Saucy. So Austrian Cup football. Hopefully it's liquid enough on Betfair. Sometimes these cup matches aren't liquid. The Czech Cup as well. Any big guns out? No. Lots of very good names if you're a Scrabble player. Petrvald na Morave. The Super League, Sonderskaya against Lyngby. I haven't researched that one. Danish First Division might be well worth following as well at 6 o'clock. It is early in the season, but it has a reputation for goals. But it looks a very tough coupon. 2.5, 2.4, 2.5, the favourite. The market can't get a handle on just this early in the season. No Finnish football yet. Surprise. We've got the Irish sorted. So it's getting busier and busier, as you can see. And I like the familiarity of the countries. Polish Ekstraklasa, Motor Lublin, I think newly promoted, failed to win their opening match of the season. They might be on the wrong end again today against Lechia Gdansk. Again, might be worth following. So I could be up and about today because I like to start football trading with familiar names and familiar leagues. And with an over-emphasis on the in-play stats this early in the season as well. Even the Challenge League, Lausanne Ushi, I think, relegated, weren't they, from last season? Will and Arau, well, some familiar names, but we'll get used to them. Slight liquidity problems there. Friendlies, well, it's up to you if you want to play friendlies. There have been some trades available, but you must enter cautiously. Dortmund, oh, that's Dortmund 2. Dortmund got spanked in Thailand, as you know. That's just a gentle reminder to you about friendlies. Patan Thani United ordinarily would be spanked about 300-0 by half-time if Dortmund were up for it. But jet lag and the ladyboys of Nana Plaza, too much for the Dortmund Stars. Bayer Leverkusen out and about against Essen, likely to be a good opportunity for Xabi Alonso's boys to just sharpen up their attacking play. You look for a possible goal fest here, I think. Pexvola, well, we'll have a look. Norwich are Leicester City against Palermo. They are at home. Fiorentina are playing Bolton. Well, that's an interesting match. Very impressive last season, Fiorentina. the Viola. So some familiar names. Luton against Dundee United. I would always side with the English side against a Scottish side. They're just out of their depth. Lack of competitive football really up in Scotland. It's just poor quality. You've just got Celtic and Rangers, and that's pretty much that. Just finish my drink before it gets cold. So Telegrammers, it is my day off, so I'd be ask you to respect that. But as you know, with the season beginning, I might be tempted out of a one-day retirement to have a go today. Just show you some of the green screens from yesterday. Cautionary lesson for you. Don't fall asleep when you've got a trade alive, as I showed you. Breeder Blick did make it 1-2 in the 70th minute. That would have produced a good return, having laid at 1.31 and backed at 12.5. We could have got a good trade out of that. Maribor, nice and simple. It's the red card that really compounds this lay the draw. Lay the draw at 4.4, relatively high. I normally keep to a £40 stake, so it's not a £40 liability. So it's not a huge return, but relative. I didn't get cash out either because the red card was in play. St. Gallen. Let's have a look. That's a nice simple profit there in the match odds. +1. Oh, I showed you the +1 there, as well as the match odds. There's a match odds option as well. Very nice return of £19.98 relative to the amount risked. Of course, if you want bigger returns, you've got to risk more. And if you risk more, you're going to lose more. So if you can take the risk, you'll get the reward. But you'll also have to take the hit. Canadian ladies, well, that was excellent. Really impressed with the Canadian ladies football. I was umming and ahhing about it yesterday. They even got the goal before half-time. If you played in the half-time market, they got the goal before half-time to make it 1-1. I did give you that hint on Telegram. I give you a number of options on Telegram because we're not all the same, are we? So I try to give you as many options as you want. Those of you who want a greater reward for greater risk, you've got those options. Those of you who want 90-minute safety, you've got the match odds option. Nice and simple. This was down to the in-play stats, really. I don't like women's football that much. Backing Canadian ladies at 2.26. Laying the New Zealand Olympics at 4.2. This was down to the in-play stats, providing us with a little bit of confidence because it is ladies football. I don't know it very well at all, but New Zealand Olympic women look out of their depth. Canadians, excellent. So that's it for today. Ending on a nice trade, 30 quid. Add it to your other green screens. And for very small liability, it was a very good night. Really enjoyed it. So have a great day today. It is my day off, so please respect that. But if I am up and about, I will pop on Telegram for you. I do want to make some cash myself.